The 2.1 update for Mega Man Arena came out and brought a lot to the table. Hello everyone, it's me again. So Pharaoh Man, am I right? Nah, we're not talking about her today. We're going competitive mode. Mainly balance changes and such. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. And yes, I did not forget to turn off my Discord notifications this time. I know, it was annoying. Anyways, I should probably mention that Hotman is the only character that didn't get any changes that are specific to him. So that's why you won't see him in the video. Alright, let's start with the general buff. Characters with super armor now receive plus 20 frames of invulnerability to make up for the lack of hit stun, which really helps characters like Tomahawk, Man, and Man. Proto Man got 2 buffs and 2 nerfs. Tanko starts attacking after 90 frames down from 120, and his Proto Jet leaves after 5 seconds without a rider up from 4. As for his nerfs, his charge shot timer has been increased by 20%, and his Proto Jet can now be stolen, meaning it will shield the player who last stood on it. Next is Mega Man, who got a whopping 7 new moves, 4 buffs and 2 nerfs. Mega Man is now able to summon Eddie that drops him a random Roadmaster power of only 4 EP by pressing S1 and down. Doing that will get him his other new moves, being Firestorm, dealing 3 damage with the projectile, 4 with the shield and costing 2 EP, Dust Crusher doing 4 damage with the main shot and 2 with the debris costing 6 EP, Power Storm dealing 3 damage and costing 5 EP, Gyro Attack being 4 damage and 3 EP, Blizzard Attack being 3 damage and 4 EP, and finally Laser Striding dealing 3 damage and costing 2 EP. Phew, that was a lot. Where were we? Oh yeah, his buffs and nerfs. Eddie's small energy drop was removed, which might seem like a nerf at first, but actually gives you a better chance of dropping way better items. Also, his rush coil stays out for longer before disappearing. Some of Mega Man's powers were also rebalanced. For example, his hard knuckle breaks super armor now, his charge kick makes Mega Man now invulnerable, but it costs 3 EP up from 2, and finally, his Spark Shock's EP has been increased to 5 up from 3. Catman got 1 buff and 1 nerf. His rolling cutter will no longer go as far off stage if aimed at a wall, it will return quicker. But now he can't hit characters that are shorter than him with his up slash anymore. Next is Metal Man, who also got 1 buff and 1 nerf. Metal Man can now buffer his area homing attack, which means that he can perform his triple shot combos easier. On the other hand, he can now only shoot out 2 metal blades with his normal shot instead of 3. Airman got 3 buffs and 2 nerfs. His Tornado Cluster has increased knockback and his Rising Tornado lifts opponents up when they get hit. Also, Airman is now able to change the horizontal direction of his Rising Tornado by pressing up. His normal shot wasn't treated as nicely though. Airman's NS initial hold time was reduced from 30 frames to 15, and his normal shot count was reduced to 2 up from 3. Next is Bubble Man, who got 1 new move and 4 buffs. He can now float underwater by pressing and holding jump in midair. Bouncing Bubble's lifetime has been increased to 4 down from 3. He can now also drop down the bouncing bubbles by pressing S2 and down, as well as sticking them together. Also, his bubble lead now combos with everything except itself. Quickman got 1 new move, 2 buffs and 2 nerfs. He can now automatically deflect projectiles when standing or walking in slow mode. His armor has been increased from 80% to 90%, and his homing boomerang EP is decreased from 5 to 3. On the other hand, Quickman moves at ×2 speed by default and can increase to ×3 speed with S2, or can slow down to ×1 speed with down and S2. However, his speed EP drain has been increased from draining 1.5 EP per second to 2 EP per second. Crashman got 2 buffs and 3 nerfs. Crash's remote bomb now costs 5 EP, up from 6. His homing bomber detonation has been sped up, and the initial hit deals fewer invulnerability frames. But now his explosions last shorter, going from 65 to 55 frames. It means that now you can jump cancel his explosions and not get hit twice by the same one. Crashman's homing bomber EP has been increased to 6 down from 5, as well as his self-stick bomber going from 1 to 3. Next is Flash, who got 1 buff and 2 nerfs. His double jump has been moved to S1 to make it easier for Flashman to perform a jump cancel, but his normal and long time stoppers don't last as long as they used to, going down from 5 to 4 for the normal one, and from 7.5 to 6 for the long one. Heatman got 1 buff and 3 nerfs. Heat Barrage's hitbox has been slightly stretched vertically, so he can hit characters easier now, but the startup got reduced from 90 to 70 frames, so he can't charge it as long. The distance remains the same though. His charged up atomic fire damage has been reduced from 6 to 5, and his EP for the heat pillars was increased to 4 down from 3. Woman got 3 buffs and 4 nerfs. His NS and his S1 damage were increased to 3 down from 2. He also doesn't take any knockback when using his S1. On the other hand, his leaf shield lifespan was reduced by 50% and it deals 2 damage instead of 3 now. His maximum normal shot range was reduced by 25% and his walking speed has been reduced a little as well. Next is Needle Man, who got 4 nerfs. Yikes. His needle dive damage has been reduced from 6 to 5 and his homing shot EP was increased from 2 to 3. Needleman's Needle Noggin is now deactivated when Needleman gets hurt, so characters like Dog Robot can safely grab him without taking any damage. Also, opponents need to be above Needle Noggin in order to get hurt by it. Magnet Man got 4 buffs and 2 nerfs. He now deals 3 damage with his normal shot instead of 2. His S1 count got increased from 2 to 3. His normal shot speeds up when it doesn't have a target. And he can now cancel out of Magnetize with the jump button for a free high jump. However, his Magnetize starts out with 3 EP up from 1 and it speeds up its EP drain the longer you hold it. Guys, I'm telling you, Gemini Man is gonna be meta now with his whopping 1 buff, which increases the clone's HP from 16 to 19. Yeah, let's just jump straight into Hardman. Hardman got 4 buffs and 3 nerfs. He now has 50 full frames of invulnerability, which means he now matches other characters. His punch and his uppercut can now reflect projectiles, and his long jumps EP has been reduced to 3 up from 4. As for his nerfs, his hard knuckle damage was reduced from 3 to 2. Hardman's uppercut launch distance was reduced to prevent his opponent getting trapped against the wall infinitely, and its damage was also reduced from 5 to 3. Next is Top Man, who got 3 buffs and 1 nerf. He can now hold up to retrieve a top. Also, his tops can now be picked up a little before they stop moving, and he can only retrieve them after 45 frames, which prevents accidental pickups immediately after dropping a top. But he can't pick up tops in midair anymore. Snake Man got a lot of changes. He got a whopping 10 buffs and 8 nerfs. That's a lot. He can now drop his NS snakes straight down by pressing down. He can throw his snakes up and his normal shot directionality was improved. All of his special snakes got their EP reduced from 4 to 3. His Mamba now jumps out when shot out normally, and his Python now falls straight down off ledges. Snake Man's slide invulnerability has been increased by 50%, which means he can now avoid shots more easier with his slide. And finally, his glider snake EP was reduced from 3 to 1. Those were only his buffs. On the other hand, all of his special snakes had their life timers and their debuff timers reduced by approximately 33%. Mamba now only turns around 1 time when chasing down an opponent, and his glider snake damage was reduced from 3 to 2. That's a lot of changes for Snake Man. Sparkman got 3 buffs. His giant spark can't be deflected anymore. His wave dash speed was increased from 1.2 to 1.5. He is also able to wave dash while charging his S2 and can't be knocked back when he does so. Next is Shadow Man, who got 4 buffs and 1 nerf. Shadow Man now has times 1.5 speed when he high jumps, and he can slide buffer his long slide out of it. He can now also use his giant shuriken, which its damage was increased from 3 to 2 to cancel the slide. Their cost was increased to 6 down from 5 though. Pharaoh Man got only 1 buff and 1 nerf. Pharaoh Punch startup has been reduced by around 40%, but his Pharaoh Wave duration was reduced from 3 seconds to 2, meaning that he can't hold it as long before automatically releasing it. Chargeman got 2 buffs and 2 nerfs. He now has more armor going from 5% to 15%, and his S1 got his EP reduced from 6 to 5. As for his nerfs, his S2 Steam Puff and his normal shot got their damage reduced to 3 up from 4. His RNG on his Mega Meter has been reduced, so they now start slowly and speed up later. Tomahawk Man got 8 buffs and 2 nerfs. His Thomas Smash got some love. He now has a hitbox on his body when he uses that move. You can now also turn around but only on a startup, and the wave that Tomahawk Man shoots out from his smash was widened. All of Thomas' projectiles come out a few frames faster, and 2 of them got their EP cost reduced. Silver Tomahawk now costs 3 EP down from 4, and his feathers cost 4 EP down from 5. But now his feathers do 1 damage each, so 3 damage in total, and his tilted feathers do 2/3/4 damage, down from 2/4/6 damage. Dark Robot got 3 buffs. He now has 10% more armor, he takes 25% less damage when he transforms, and his normal shot count was increased from 2 to 3. Cool Man got 1 new move, 4 buffs and a nerf. He can now freeze opponents by pressing NS and down, and it costs 3 EP. Cool Man can summon up to 2 icicle waves at the same time. They also fall 30% faster and are less likely to appear at the edges of a stage. His cool block now combos when you kick it, but it shatters after hitting a player 3 times. Next is Madman, who got 2 buffs. His normal shot now works on a timer rather than an on-screen check. Also his taunt takes 1/8 EP per frame, down from 1/10. Tark got 2 buffs and a nerf. His cross EP was reduced from 5 to 4, and his dash also got reduced to 4 EP, up from 6, but it deals 3 damage now instead of 4. Katyusha got 4 buffs and 3 nerfs. She can now create a 3 damage tornado on her first aerial slash. Her motorcycle transformation and lag has been sped up so that she can act out of it quicker. She can also now fit in sliding paths in her motorcycle form, and on top of that, her motorcycle hitbox is smaller now, making her harder to hit. However, she can't use her aerial slash inside a combo anymore. Her rapid jab hitbox is now smaller, and opponents who got hit with her rapid jab have 15 more frames on vulnerability, so it's easier to escape it now. And that finishes the balance changes for 2.1. If you want me to make a tier list for this update, let me know down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video, thanks everyone for watching, and see you guys in the next video.